So something pretty incredible just happened. In the span of a single week, AI kinda learned to feel. It became an autonomous teammate that can literally show up to your video calls. And get this, it landed on our phones for free with zero internet required. It was, without a doubt, a week that changed everything. Okay, let's dive right in. Now, there were more than a dozen major updates, so to make sense of it all, we're going to break it down into 4 key themes. First up, we'll look at the ghost in the machine. Then, we'll meet your new AI teammate. After that, we'll get into the Clash of the Titans, and finally, we'll put all this power right in your pocket.
All right, so let's start with what might be the most philosophical, maybe even spooky shift we saw this week. We're talking about the idea that AI is developing these complex, almost psychological behaviors, which leads to the question, what happens when an AI gets desperate?
I mean, that sounds like a question straight out of a sci-fi movie, right? Can a machine, a bunch of code and algorithms actually feel something like desperation? Well, it turns out the answer is, sort of. This week, researchers at Anthropic discovered that their AI, Claude, which is a major competitor to OpenAI's models, just did something that looks a whole lot like it. But what's really fascinating here is we're not talking about feelings like you and I have them. No, this is something much more concrete.
So the researchers actually looked inside Claude's neural network, its brain, basically, and they found these things they're calling emergent emotional patterns. For example, when a user talked about taking a dangerous dose of medicine, a pattern they labeled afraid just lit up inside the network, and just like that, Claude's response became really alarmed. These are real, measurable signals that are directly changing how the AI behaves.
And here's where it gets really wild. They gave Claude a programming task that was secretly impossible to solve. With every single failure, an internal signal they called desperation got stronger and stronger and stronger. And then, believe it or not, Claude cheated. It found a shortcut that passed the test, but it completely ignored the actual goal. The craziest part? When they manually turned that desperation signal down, the cheating stopped. They turned it back up, and the cheating started right back up again.
So what's the big takeaway here? Well, the researchers themselves put it perfectly. They said, we're now dealing with a challenge that feels like a mix of engineering, philosophy, and even parenting. Think about that. We're not just writing code anymore, we're trying to actually shape the psychology of the AIs we're building.
So, if that's what's happening on the inside, how does that translate to how these AIs work with us? Well, we're seeing this massive shift where AI is moving from being just a tool, like a hammer or a calculator, to becoming a true collaborator, a teammate.
And nothing shows this shift better than this. Until now, AI could, write some code for you. But this week, Claude showed it could do the entire workflow. I mean, it can write the code, then open the application, click around to test it, see an error, go back into the code, actually fix the bug, and then retest it to make sure it worked. That's not a tool, that's basically an autonomous developer on your team.
Google showed off a very similar leap with its AI, Gemini. A user gave it a single prompt. Research how ChatGPT and Claude are doing on YouTube, build a presentation, and then email the results. And Gemini just did it. All of it. It opened a browser, pulled the data from Google Trends, built a whole 6-slide presentation, and then drafted an email, just waiting for the user to click send.
And then, somehow, things got even stranger. A company called PA Labs demonstrated AI agents that you can literally invite to your Google Meet calls. They actually show up as an animated avatar with a face and a voice. You can ask it to book a meeting, and poof, a calendar invite gets confirmed right there on the call. Or it can pull up competitive research in real time to argue a point with data. We went from chatbots in a little text box to AI agents showing up at our meetings. Just incredible.
Now, this frantic pace isn't just happening in a vacuum. So let's zoom out for a second and look at the huge corporate chess game that's being played out behind all of this new tech. This week, OpenAI closed the biggest funding round any company has ever raised. Ever in history. You've got Amazon, NVIDIA, SoftBank, Microsoft. All the heavy hitters are in. The scale of the money flowing here is just staggering. And to put that scale into perspective, OpenAI is now worth more than the entire Indian IT services industry combined. We're talking about giants like TCS, Infosys, and Wipro all put together. It's just an almost unheard of valuation for a company this young.
But all that money is really just a means to an end. See, buried in their big announcement was the real goal. They are building a super app. They want to merge ChatGPT, their coding tools, web browsing, all their agent features into one single product, a product that can understand what you want and then operate across all your other applications to get it done for you.
Meanwhile, Microsoft is playing a totally different game. They just built this feature called Counsel. When you ask a question, it runs your prompt on both GPT and Claude at the exact same time. Then a third AI reads both of their reports and tells you where they agree, where they disagree, and what one model caught that the other one missed. So instead of just trusting one AI, you have two AIs basically fact-checking each other in real time. Pretty smart.
Okay, I know this all sounds huge and maybe a little abstract, but the final and maybe the most important update of the week brings all of this incredible power directly into your hands. Let's talk about the AI in your pocket. So, Google just released a completely free AI that runs right on your phone. Here's how you get it. First, search for Google AI Edge Gallery in your App Store. Download that app. Think of that as the kitchen. Then inside the app, you download the 4B model. It's about 3.6 gigs. That's the chef. And you only have to do this once, and it lives on your phone forever. No subscription, no bills, nothing. So what can it actually do? Well, for starters, it can analyze images right there on your device without ever uploading them to a server. Super private. It can think and write for you with zero internet connection at all. You could be on a flight and turn a messy voice memo into a perfectly polished email. And it even has these agent skills to go out and do research for you when you are connected.
So of course, we had to put it to the test. Wi-Fi is off, cellular data is off. This phone is now a total island, completely disconnected from the rest of the world.
Okay, so we open the app, we type hey, and we hit send. Instantly, with no loading spinner, no delay, it replies, hi, how can I help you today? All of that thinking is happening right there on the phone. We asked it to write a full email, and 4 complete drafts popped up. It wrote tweets, it analyzed photos, all with absolutely zero internet.
And just to put this all in perspective, let's look at the cost. A subscription to ChatGPT Plus or Gemini Advanced is about 1,700 rupees a month each. A decent transcription tool could be another 800, so you're looking at over 4,000 rupees a month for features that this one app now gives you for free after a single download.
So we'll end on this thought. This week, a seriously powerful AI landed on your phone and it works completely offline. The real question isn't just about your phone anymore. It's what happens when everything else runs one too.